answers. Let's talk about therapy. You know, when is it time to go? Do you really need to go? Does it work? And if you are going, when is a good time to know that you can move on to greater pastures? So I have a lot of experience with therapy. I think that it is a really good life tool to use. I don't think that you need to necessarily be going through problems to reap the benefits of, therapy. I've read a lot of books in my lifetime, and I remember this one book I was reading that just suggested that people should go to therapy. Like, if not therapy, maybe have what people call a mastermind these days, or a group of people that you can go to for ideas and counsel. Like, you need someone to be your emotional coach, or someone to be a part of your emotional and mental community for your well-being. Like, that's a part of the human condition. We are a communal species. We desire and need community. So in the book that I was reading, it said that everyone should go to therapy. Like, you don't stay in shape in hopes of, preventing things. Well, I guess you could. I guess you can. But that's not the whole point. The point is that you want to stay in optimum shape. Like, for today. This is not just, for tomorrow. It's for now. If you wait until you have heart problems to try to up and work out, you're going to have a difficult time getting through that. So that's kind of what therapy is. It's like exercise for your mental stability and your emotional health. That's why everyone should go to therapy. I believe that it's good for you. I believe it helps keeps you balanced. I believe getting a second opinion is good. You need to kind of know what the situation looks like from the outside, because a lot of people can only see things from one point of view, their own, and they don't really take the time to think about things from a different perspective. In my life, I do that. I feel like that makes things a lot easier for me when I look at things from not just a different point of view, but all points of view. I feel like it helps me understand situations better. I feel like I can now clearly see through the situation to its solution, or see through to the other side, because I've looked at it from all of these different angles, top, bottom, front, back, side to side. I have a 360 view of the situation. Now I see the problem and the solution more clearly. I feel like that's what kind of therapy does for you. And I think that it's a good idea that everyone should probably explore the option of therapy. Now, my personal experiences with therapy. Therapists aren't that great. To be a therapist, after all, is just to have a job. It is just a job. Like many jobs, people just show up and they're not particularly passionate about said job. They are just there to collect a paycheck. And that's something that you need to think about and remember going into it. I've probably been involved with a therapist, I can confidently say, for most of my life. I've been in therapy, and most of my therapists were not good at their jobs. They were just there going through the motions. It was very, inauthentic and removed from any personal connection or interaction. Not to say that that's required for the job, but I feel like it makes the experience from the patient point of view anyway better. But I wasn't always offered that type of service when I was in most of my therapy sessions. I think maybe out of, let me say, like 13 therapists I've seen all of my life, only maybe 3 or 4 of them were really good. Maybe only 3 or 4 of them really had an impact on my life and helped me and actually cared about me as a person, actually cared about my case and cared about me actually getting better or finding a solution to the dilemmas that I was facing at that time in my life. That does have something to do with, the medical industrial complex philosophy on medicine. It's not necessarily always providing actual solutions for patients. It's most of the time just providing alleviation from some of the symptoms of the illness or discomfort that you might be experiencing. And so I kind of really felt like that was the philosophy overall in my own personal experiences while working with therapists in therapy. But even though that has been my personal experience, I still think that it's worth it. I still think that people should invest in, going to therapy and talking to therapists regularly. One thing I can say to combat people's fears about therapy and them not actually receiving the help that they need is that you don't have to just accept the therapist that you get. Like, you can actively research and kind of interview therapists. Like, you don't just have to take the one that you get. Like, you can fire them, you can hire a new one, and you can go somewhere else. I think that's a deeper conversation that can be had because of the state of the health insurance industry in today's time and age, but that would be a whole different conversation with a lot of different complexities that I couldn't probably thoroughly inspect off the top of my head. So, I'll save that conversation for later. But, therapy has had a positive impact on my life, even though I didn't feel particularly cared for in some instances, in most instances, I would say. But it still had a positive impact on my life because I've gone to therapy for so long. I kind of gathered different techniques to use to calm my emotions and to kind of ground myself, to help myself get through complex thoughts and feelings. I kind of picked up on those techniques pretty early in life, in my therapy journey. And I found, as I got older and as I went to more sessions with different therapists, that they were kind of giving me those same solutions. Like I said, it was very textbook, very clinical. It wasn't really catered to me personally and to the specific dilemma that I was facing. Like, it was very cookie cutter solutions most of the time. And it wasn't terrible. The techniques that I learned early on did work, but I found that there wasn't any new discoveries, or they weren't trying any new methods or techniques with me. That bothered me a lot, but regardless, once I had learned them, they were useful. But I wish that, therapists had come up with something new. Not even to say that it was their fault, but I wish, the medical industry would find different solutions to, emotional and mental dilemmas. Like, we can't keep using the same solutions that we used 100 years ago. It's outdated. Like, we need something new. But I don't work in the medical industrial complex, so I can't and won't speak too much about it. But I do think that therapy is a good way to go. If you're not gonna go just to keep yourself level-headed, if you're not gonna go just to make sure that you kind of maintain a healthy, homeostasis between your different feelings through the ages and stages of life, then go when you need to go. So when you do need to go, then let's just say, you're having a problem. Maybe you lost a parent or something else happened, because there's a lot going on in today's world, climate change, political uproars and uprisings. Life can get tough and you might not necessarily know how to process it. I feel like going to therapy could very well help you through that. When is it a good time to stop going to therapy? Again, I think therapy is a good thing to do for life. I think it's a good method of helping clear your mind and keeping yourself stable. But for me, when I knew it was time for me to not have to go to therapy anymore is when, like I said, the techniques just grew stale. They weren't giving me anything new. I found that I can basically therapy myself with all the techniques and the strategies that I've learned from my therapists over the years. So I'm not currently in therapy. It's been I think 2 years since my last therapy session, and I'm okay. And I think if I ever go through any other mental dilemmas or emotional hardships, I will still be okay on my own, because therapy has taught me how to think. Therapy has taught me how to manage my own emotions. And I think that has been the greatest takeaway from therapy. And that's why I think everybody should go to therapy. So hopefully this helps someone that might need it. But if you're thinking about finding help in organizing your thoughts and clarifying emotions, go to therapy. It could be a big help.